Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This is Martina and today I'm here to show you an unfinished project. I'm currently working on a new journal, as you might have guessed, and I thought maybe it is also of interest for you to see how the thing unfolds, how the process works, what I do, how I do things, not exactly in a type of craft with me style, because as I have explained in other videos, my craft room is very limited, very small, very crowded, and quite chaotic, but I would like to take you through some steps and also some thinking process, and I hope it is inspiring for you. So, let's dive into it. Okay, what you see here in front of you is a cover which I have created using different, very pretty, opulent, richly decorated sari trims, scraps of different sari elements, and I have turned them into a cover. So, how did I do that? Well, first of all, of course, it's about how you make the composition. You put the things on a background and then you see, does it fit? How does it match together? Do I change it here and there? And then, once I had decided that, I have pinned them down, because typically what I do is I glue or sew them on some cotton fabric. And you do see the cotton fabric here. And I usually do that, so I don't like to glue or sew them directly on the body as such. And the body, which I have used here, is a big envelope. And because this envelope, of course, is not as sturdy and as thick as cardstock, and I still want to have it resistible, I have attached some tape here on the spine so that there is no harm, and there wouldn't be any harm anyway, because the spine is also covered by fabric. So this is an additional precaution which I have took. It's not necessary, but I did. And as I said, I have attached and pinned down the different elements, the different collage elements, before I glued, respectively sewed them. And doing that, it is important to keep it in the right order, because you have to make sure that they overlap in the right way. And you have to think a little bit about that and see, and then start the gluing, do the sewing, glue again, whatever is required. Before I do that, and before I when I have chosen the cotton fabric, in this case it's this pink one, cotton fabric, before I do that, I take the body, the dimension of the body, go to my iron machine and flip the cotton fabric around the body so that I have these marks. Having these marks helps me to identify exactly where to position the different trims and elements on this, for this body, for this cover. So that's the cover. It will look like this. I have attached it in a way that this frame overlaps, peeks out a little bit here. And of course, what you see here, 13 means 13 centimeters. This is the width, and this will be important for me when I make the signatures. Once I have done the cover, I start to think about how to cover the inside. And I typically do this by having three elements, 3 parts, one for the spine and the 2 side parts. I was lucky that I recently have been gifted by my friend May from Saudi Arabia with some really exquisite, stunning fabric, and it's so pretty that I'm going to use it for further crafting, but I also am going to use it for decorating the inside. And it will look like this, because I love how this pink matches with the pink over here. And it looks like this. And the spine, which I have put on cardstock, you see it's all put on cardstock so that it really gives some stability. And it's glued. This one is completely glued. And you have to make sure that you have the corners neat, relatively neat. And then it will be glued on here. But before these are getting glued on, the spine is being glued on. So this is how it would look finally when it's ready. And of course you have a little wiggle room here. Therefore the spine usually is smaller, less wide than the spine on the outside, because otherwise you cannot really close the thing. So this is how it would look like without any signatures. Of course, this gluing exercise is one of the last steps you do. But because, at least the way I do it, before you can finally glue it down, you have to do some other things. And some of the other things you have to do, or I do, when I do a journal, is of course preparing the signatures. So I have decided on the width of the spine in relation to the width of the outside spine. And I have identified that I would like to have 5 signatures. And I have a really neat, tool, which my husband made for me to make the holes in more or less one go. So I have made these 5 holes for attaching or binding down the signatures. And having the fabric being longer or wider than the original spine helps to make it to attach it in a nice way when you glue it down. Have another look. It will look like this, and you have, so it sticks here, and of course it will also be glued on the back side. So yeah, and then I thought, okay, but how to decorate? And I looked in my stash, and of course I found stuff, and in what I found is a little piece of my self-dyed silk, which I have ruffled and sewn on some trim, which I'm going to use as well, or ribbon, which I'm going to use as well for probably for binding the final for closing the final journal. But this one here, I probably, this is the plan, will glue down there so that it peeks out like this, and you have this wonderful decoration over here. And this will be only one of the several ruffles which I plan to make. So that's how I have been so far. I have also started to work on the signatures. And I realized when I make a journal, I realized there are different process steps, not only in the making, but also in my, let's say, mental status. So once I know how I would like to make the cover, I'm really euphoric, and I start to do, and then I have it, and then I'm really, really happy. And then it comes to making the signatures, and I have to find the paper and decide upon the paper, and then started decorating. And every time when I do a journal, there is a phase where I say, oh no, I don't want it anymore. And then this is typically the time when I go to my husband and I say, I'm going to finish this journal, but after that I'm done. I'm not doing any journal anymore. And he looks at me and smiles very mildly and says, of course, my dear, because he knows, yes, this is what I always say, and this is forgotten once the journal is finished. But anyway, this is where I stand right now, and thank you for watching, and I keep you updated when I start the preparation of the signatures. Thank you so much, and I hope you had fun. Bye-bye.